There are people that say Palantir is an evil company, they exploit data, and that there are major ethical issues with investing or even using their products. How did you reconcile those ethical concerns when you invested in 2020, and do you still share any of those ethical concerns today?
Between now and 2020, sorry, when I invested in 2020, I wouldn't say I really had a very strong opinion about it. I knew that they're pretty good about making sure that the data privacy and people didn't have access. Like I don't have access to a lot of our other regions' data, if that makes sense. I have access to the Gulf of Mexico. I have access to Trinidad data. Places that I've worked, I actually haven't really checked the Trinidad data. I could check the reports and stuff that I've made that I have access to, but if I were to go to specific files, I don't know if I still have access to them or not. Um, Certain applications I can access the data, certain applications I cannot. So that kind of goes back to that. But I remember having the other day, actually, it's probably 6 months ago now. So to answer your question, when I invested in 2020, I didn't really think about it. Now, 6 months after this whole NHS conversation has kind of got started about they're trying to kill us, basically, they're trying to use our data, evil spy company, what have you. I remember hearing somebody complaining with one of the other engineers, why can't we just have a generic account? Why can't we just have a generic account for Palantir so that anybody can access this or access that? And I remember them picking up the phone and talking to the guy on Palantir. He's like, it's not how we do it. Why would you want a generic account? Right?
Mm,
If you have a generic account, that means that it's not tied to one person, right? Anybody can access it. Who knows who's accessing it? It's not bueno. It doesn't go with the ethical considerations of what Palantir is all about.
right,
They want to have an account attached to an entity or a person like myself, so they could say, "Hey, Matt accessed the data. Why is Matt accessing this data?
right,
Matt shouldn't have access to this data. Turn it off."
right.
And I've heard people talk to like, "Oh, I left this team or I left the region, and I thought I still had access to Palantir, and I tried going in, and I couldn't access the database." That was within days. Like it's pretty impressive how quickly they'll be able to turn on and off data. And so in that respect, it kind of gives me concern, like the consideration of, hey, they are actually thinking about these things more than people really give credit for. And I'm sure if it was a true concern, like how HIPAA and things like that within hospitals, I'm sure it's very well done. I don't think that us, I mean, we have some confidential information with an undisclosed oil company, but I mean, we're not talking about people's social security numbers and stuff like that. We're talking about barrels of oil that came out of a well, right? I mean, it's really not that confidential at the end of the day. If like somebody found out, they'd probably be more impressed or think that that's pretty cool rather than like, oh, how can I use this to take down undisclosed oil company from a hacking perspective? That stuff still goes on, right? Everyone's tries
Right.
to hack everybody, but like it's not like you can ruin somebody's true life. We're not giving out social security numbers and stuff like. I would love to get my fingers on, or at least see the sort of, I don't want to, I'm gonna say firewalls. I know it's not the right way, but layers and barriers that they have in place for what they're doing at like Cardinal Health. And who were the gentlemen that presented at AIPCon?
Cleveland Clinic.
Yeah, I would love to see how they are managing that. And maybe that's something, because we have somewhat of an influence, maybe not as much as we do, or maybe we have more than we think we do. We reach out to Sham, or we reach out to some of these guys on Twitter, or just even through this interview. If you're watching this, I would love to see that at a Foundry Con or an AIP Con, the layers of security and how that's being implemented. And I think Apollo has a big piece in that, because I think that's truly trying to understand who's getting the right software, who's getting the right access to data, who's getting. And so I'm really curious, and I would love to see more about it. And if somebody knows of something, I'd love to see that in the comment section below. Please tag me in it.